Hello and welcome to your weekly podcast from Freestyle Media in partnership with the Magic 5, where you can get 15% off a pair of their custom fit goggles by using the link in the description to this episode. You can also check out Oxalt Strength and Conditioning. That's Nathan Oxford. He's a strength and conditioning coach. He works with athletes, including swimmers, and he's been getting some great results for his swimmers, both in and out of the water. So that is www.oxalt.com. Okay, so I'm joined this week by Jamie Brown, who is part of Derby Excel Masters Swimming Club. And you guys are hosting a Masters Development Day at Alfreton Leisure Centre a week on Saturday. That's the 23rd of September. But yeah, welcome to the podcast, mate.
Hi, Joe. Thank you very much for having me. Really looking forward to chatting through everything with you and getting to tell you all about everything that we've got planned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we're actually not too far from each other. I'm based in Matlock. I know you're sort of Derby way. It's just started raining as we've hit record, and I'm sorry to say, but I've got some washing on the line, and
no.
it's really affecting me. We have this like weird thing, a 5-second countdown before we start the podcast, and as the 5-second countdown started, I looked to my left and I saw this just a load of rain. And I thought, oh, for goodness sake. Yeah, there we go. But we are where we are. But listen. So first of all, just a little bit about yourself. So as I said earlier, you swim for DX as we like to call it. Have you always been kind of part of that club, or have you just kind of come in as a master swimmer?
Well, we're actually we're a bit more of a recently formed club now. So we merged with City Derby, who was my kind of parent club growing up as a swimmer. And we merged with Davencio Excel, as it were. Earlier in the year, that kind of all became official. So we're now Derby Excel as a swimming club as an entity itself, and that's just kind of made us stronger in numbers, I guess, if you like, and put us in a position to be able to kind of push forward both in our performance squads and with our age group of masters squads as well. So so it's a group that's come together kind of a little bit more recently in its whole entity. I've been part of City Derby Swimming Club, as it were, for upwards of 20 years before, kind of, learned to swim pretty much with the club, and then went all the way through myself as a swimmer. That then transitioned into coaching a few years ago, and I kind of found my passion in master swimming about 4 years ago now, having done a few on and off sessions and things as well. So been in and around master swimming for a little while, and the more you do, the more involved you get, the more it sucks you in, I guess, doesn't it? So we're going from strength to strength at the moment with that.
That sounds fantastic, and I have to say I didn't realise there was a merge with City Derby. So that you said that's across all the age groups.
Yes, yeah, the two clubs have completely merged together. Like I say, with moving into the new facility at Moorways, it made sense as a perfect opportunity. It's been very well documented, hasn't it, that swimming clubs and finance has been stretched at times with the energy crisis and things over the last couple of years. So it's been a really positive move for everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I remember when it was Davencio back in the day. I remember when that club was first set up. It was kind of like the mid noughties, and I was a junior swimmer myself at Belper. I mean, I never went to Davencio, but I remember it sort of coming into existence. And City of Derby at the time were the top club in the county, and then Davencio kind of became this elite squad of Derbyshire. And interesting to hear that they've merged actually. And I'm sure, as you say, you're kind of going from strength to strength. And you mentioned you've done some coaching. So do you currently have another role besides being a master swimmer yourself?
Yeah, so I'm the lead coach for the master squad. So I kind of organise and coordinate a lot of that. We're really keen to be a very collaborative group. So I'm not someone that dictates the set programme. It's very much around what the master swimmers want to get out of the club. I'm really keen to allow them, and I want to kind of facilitate really rather than to dictate. I guess your traditional performance programs will have a coach in mind around certain set cycles and certain set meets, and our performance masters that are targeting national and international competitions will follow those kind of same programs. But equally, we have swimmers that are training for open water, some swim training for triathlons. We've got people that swim for fitness within the squad as well. So there's a real kind of diversity within that allows for quite a range of training that goes on within the same pool. So it's a really good group to coach. I get a lot out of doing that as well.
Yeah, it sounds fantastic. And I apologise, I didn't realise you were the coach there. I should have known that beforehand. But that's brilliant. And I know that the DX Master Squad is one of the great things about it is you have a lot of pool time, don't you? So you actually have availability most evenings.
Yeah, we've been really well supported by our committee as well. the work that they've done to try and support and facilitate that's been really great. It's little things like, you know, a lot of master swimmers fitting it around work and families and things. It gets challenging to train 5-6 times a week, as you know, and to fit all that in as well. But they've been flexible around payment structures. They've been flexible around attendance to sessions, and you know, where there's been an accommodation that we can make to try and help swimmers to be able to continually train and get the most out of themselves, while also having, you know, lives to contend with as well, has been really great. So we certainly couldn't have set up what we have without their support and things as well.
Yeah, I'm really
probably. Sorry, I interrupted you. I think it's probably also a time just to shout out Yuri as well. So Yuri's our Derbyshire Masters representative, but he's also the Masters coordinator on the committee as well, and has done an awful lot of work in the last few months to set up and kind of put in place a lot of the things we're going to talk about today. So
yeah,
and I guess say thank you to him. Really, like I said, there's a huge amount of unpaid hours that goes into stuff like that, isn't there? So
yeah, absolutely, and all volunteers across clubs all over England. It really is one of those sports, isn't it, that yields great people, because, you know, people are doing this off their own backs, and which is great. And listen, I think it's sounds like a fantastic setup. I know a couple of the swimmers that swim with you, which is great. So and you have set up this Masters Development Day, which is quite a new. I mean, it's quite a new thing generally, I would say. I mean, I've certainly not known anything like this. It's an entire day, sort of 9 till 4. A number of different speakers. Obviously, we'll get onto all of that. I know it's a DX first as well, if you like. So I mean, I guess, like, what's inspired that? Because I imagine this is the sort of thing that a lot of junior and age group clubs would get. So has the idea kind of come from maybe some successful ones that you've run there?
I would say it has, yeah. And I've done things, you know, back when I was age group squad coaching. Sorry, get my words out. We did kind of similar sort of things where we'd have talks and information for parents and things as well. And, you know, a lot of our master swimmers are ex-junior swimmers. They've, you know, experienced a lot of that from a junior perspective. But we just felt there was a real gap in the information for master swimmers. You know, the information around sports psychology and how you get the best out of yourself when you know you're not able to train as many times as you would like, for example, or how you deal with injury prevention as you are an older swimmer. And, you know, those kind of processes felt like there was a bit of a gap there. So we really wanted to put something in place that was, you know, really hands-on, really involved, really kind of informative, and tailored for master swimmers. You know, we've been fortunate enough to be partaking nutrition talks, and the club again have supported us with that. But a lot of that is designed towards the bulk of our membership, which is, you know, younger swimmers and performance athletes that are, you know, significantly younger than some of our members in the master squad. So we wanted something that was really tailored towards them.
Sounds great. And the point you mentioned a second ago about how can swimmers get the best out of themselves when, you know, it's not always easy to train. I find that's the biggest conflict, isn't it, in our swimming lives, if you like, as adults. When you're a kid, it's so easy. You just go to every session, your mum or dad takes you, you've got nothing else on. But, you know, here we are, the washing's getting soaking outside, and you just think we've got other things going on in our lives that, yeah, it does mean, should I go swimming today or should I go to the gym? Because I'd like to do both. You know, they're both helpful. And it's a constant, and obviously you try and have structures in place, but it doesn't always work like that, and things get in the way, and then you've kind of you're one session behind for the week. It's a Wednesday, and you're thinking, right, okay, I need to try and make up X and Y, and it's a really difficult conflict. So actually having this kind of information, yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, and it's you know, you find yourself chasing your tail with things like that, don't you? If you're, you know, counting meters or if you're counting hours, it becomes very, very difficult to manage performance in that regard, doesn't it? So, you know, we've tried to. I guess that's been my biggest transition, really, actually, as a coach, to go from having swimmers that I know are going to be there 6-7 sessions a week, where I can work with them consistently, and you can build the progression in training cycles that you want to. Finding that when you've only got swimmers at sessions for 2 or 3 sessions a week, and they've got lives and kids and families and work, it's been quite a transition as a coach, actually, and I've really enjoyed and kind of relished that as well. Definitely.
Yeah, no, sounds good. So let's talk about the day itself then. So it kicks off at 9 o'clock, and kind of just go through the different things that will be on throughout the day. So I assume a lot of this will be dry land and people giving information, maybe in a meeting room or an open space.
Yeah, so like I said, we were really keen to have a really hands-on day, a day that was going to be, not listening to a PowerPoint all day and listening to information, if you like. We wanted to have something where swimmers were involved, swimmers were getting, the opportunity to partake in that, to do things as well. So we've organised 2 swim sessions within the day. One of those swim sessions, the first of which is more around fitness-based swimming and how we can build aerobic bases, how we can expand on training times and make the most out of those limited precious hours we get in the water. And the second of which is a bit more of a competitive framework. So we're looking at starts, turns, finishes, and how we can make those gains within that time in the pool as well. I know a lot of master swimmers up and down the country get a lot of time in the water, but very often don't get time and access to things like blocks and starting equipment and things as well. So, where we can provide that opportunity, I think it's really important to take that time and to do so as well. And then, in and around that, we've got some experts and some professionals coming in to do some work with us as well. Like I say, our kind of brief for them has really been about how can we tailor this to a Master Swimmers Day, and how can we make sure that we are targeting, a range of swimmers all the way from, across the Masters ages, but not tailored towards age group swimmers so much. So we've got a physiotherapist that's coming with us today, currently working with the NHS. He is going to come and talk to us a lot about how we can improve mobility, flexibility, and how that can then benefit within the pool as well. So that's quite important from an injury prevention perspective. Something that we can all benefit from. We've then got a sports psychologist, Dr. Karen Howells as well. So she's a lecturer at Cardiff Metropolitan University. She's going to come and talk to us a little bit about the sports psychology behind that as well, how we can approach racing, how we can get in those correct mindsets, and how we deal with, bad training weeks, tough weeks with being busy and out the pool, injuries, and the psychology that we can build from that as well. She's previously done some work with our club, and we found that really beneficial. So we're really looking forward to that as well. The third guest that we've got coming along in the day is an ex-professional swimmer as well. Current professional swimmer. I apologise. And that is someone that's competed at major championships. It's been a medal winner at major championships as well. But someone that we've made the decision to leave the name of blank for today as a little surprise for those coming on the day. So we're really excited to have them. I will be in specific coming along to talk about their experiences and how they've transitioned from junior into senior swimming as well. Again, I think there's a lot of parallels that we can draw from that that master swimmers will benefit from too. So it promises to be a really, really good day. We're hoping to get some networking done. We're personally, I'm really keen to get master swimming in Derbyshire off the ground and really kind of into the forefront of people's conversations and minds within the county. So we're looking at opportunities to network for going to, European Masters and World Masters and things as well. You might find that there's master swimmers in a club in the county that perhaps, maybe are interested but don't know anyone that's going, and actually them having that opportunity to network with those other swimmers, I think might mean that we get more swimmers going to those kind of events as well, which is only ever a good thing, isn't it?
That all sounds absolutely fantastic, and I think what's really interesting is that you've got your 2 swim sessions. You mentioned the first one's more around how to build an aerobic capacity off limited time. So it is how you're kind of going to run these sessions. You're going to maybe do some talking first, and then you're going to get in the pool. Then you're going to get out the pool, maybe have some lunch, do some more dry land conversations with obviously some of the guests you've got in, then go back in the water for the next part, then come back out for the final. But is that kind of how it's going to be split, or?
Yeah, that's the plan for the day. We kind of wanted to have that variation in there and getting people in the pool, getting people in the gym to be able to do some of those activities and kind of go through some of those things and almost practice what they're hearing on the day, I think is really important too. I'm a school teacher by day myself, and one of the things that we wouldn't cardinal sin with our students is lecturing them on what we want them to do and never giving them the chance to practice. So we're really keen to build that into the day as well, to give people the opportunity not to just listen to how various different stretches or various different activities pre and post pool might reduce injury, but to actually have the space and the time to have a go at those and to hopefully to feel some of the benefits of that as well.
It's honestly, this is gold dust for swimmers if they can make it. I really would really would recommend it. It sounds absolutely brilliant. Are you leading this yourself, Jamie, or is there a team of you? Or...
So there's a few of us that'll be there. Like I say, Yuri is our Masters coordinator who has done the bulk of the organising for the day and has been the brains behind a lot of the operation of putting things together. He'll be there on the day. I'll be there leading the day and kind of facilitating most of that. Personally, I'll be coaching the sessions as well, so I'll be there and around about to facilitate that too. And there'll be a few of our master swimmers from within the club that I'm sure will pitch in and help out where we need them as well.
Yeah, brilliant. I'm quite interested. I mean, obviously, I don't want you to give away your content from the weekend when it comes around, but just very briefly, sort of, so that our listeners can kind of gauge some sort of interest from what you're going to be talking about. That around the kind of building an aerobic capacity of limited time. What's the kind of outline message for that? Like, is it the type of sets that people do? What kind of like zones they're working in? Is that kind of what you're looking at?
Broadly speaking, yes. And I think it's important that my philosophy has always been quality is better than quantity as well. And, if we're understanding, I've had swimmers in the past that are convinced or have convinced themselves that in order to improve, they must just do more hours. And, by being able to educate swimmers on the kind of sports science behind some of that and how that works, from that perspective, I think will really help. We're hoping to give some ideas of sets that will kind of help those things as well, and give some suggestions that are going to help on those kind of ideas. And equally, how we can maximise that time within the pool. I was talking to our squad and our swimmers before the summer break about how we can maximise that time, and ultimately that is good warm-ups out of the pool and good cool downs and post-pool activities afterwards. Most people would jump at the opportunity to extend their session by half an hour, but the reality is if we do 15 minutes dry land before and 15 minutes afterwards, that is the reality of what we've achieved, isn't it? So we're looking to try and build some of that in. There's only limited hours in a day to be able to do that, but we're not going to make anybody a fitter swimmer in one day, but hopefully we're going to send them away with the tools and the understanding and the ability to be able to do that is our aim.
Well, that's what I was going to say. You're going to empower people to go away with the knowledge to then kind of put it into practice themselves. And again, what I'm interested in here is that a lot of swimmers who I guess may come to this day are part of a club, so they don't necessarily train on their own. So if there are recommendations that you guys are giving and the guest speakers themselves are giving, is it then important for those swimmers to go away, maybe have a conversation with their coach or their other team members and say, well, look, maybe we should start implementing X and Y?
That's exactly what we'd love to do. We're really hoping it becomes a bit of a ripple effect, that people come, find themselves motivated and inspired and educated by the day, to a point where they then go on and share that knowledge as well. Master swimming is such a collaborative environment, isn't it? We want people to have access to that information and knowledge, and we want people to then be able to pass that on to others, so that they benefit as well. So we're really hoping that has that ripple effect.
Yeah. And the physiotherapist, remind me who that is?
So that's Dr. Greg. I think Dr. Gregor Kelling, who is an NHS physio as well. So he's worked long-standing. He is from a bit of a swimming background as well, so understands the sport. And again, we're really keen to work on some shoulders and get some things worked out for people as well.
I was going to say, so I'm guessing a lot of this will be around pre-pool, post-pool, and just kind of general maintenance, so that you can kind of train at your best ability and race at your best ability.
And kind of the ongoing process of that as well. It is something that takes time, isn't it, to develop, but we're really keen that has lasting benefits into people's training cycles. And, if people are increasing weights in the gym and working in those kind of things, how can we do that in such a way that's going to help them rather than hinder them when they start perhaps upping training intensity and things as well. So we're really keen to kind of build that in. One of my personal experiences, really, I've struggled a little bit with shoulder injuries as a kind of junior swimmer, but that's made me a lot more aware of what I'm seeing when I'm coaching as well. We've tried to do a lot of work on building some of the correct kind of stroke technique and the correct kind of power application through the strokes in order to prevent that strain on the shoulders as well, and the impingement that you get within that. So we're hoping to kind of educate people on some of those things and hope to build build some further resilience with that too.
Yeah, again, this is all sounding like real gold dust information for people. And then obviously we move on to the psychologist. And again, this is a fascinating kind of topic, really, because this is, well, this as well as the physiotherapist is a very personal thing. So this isn't something that you would necessarily go back to your club and say to your coach, okay, maybe we should start doing this set or that set. This is very much a personal thing. Some people love racing. Some people get, I mean, everybody probably gets nervous about it, but people get like excited, nervous. Some people probably really worry about it, overthink it. It's such a fascinating subject. So again, do you know broadly what's going to be covered?
I think there'll be a range of things in the day, but I think a lot of that will be unpicking how we approach, like you say, racing. Personally, you stick me on a block, and I absolutely love that. That is me in my element. But I know there are swimmers that have struggled with the stresses of racing and the pressure of racing as a child, and that's carried forward with them into adulthood. And one of my favorite things about masters swimming is watching those swimmers go from age group competitions where it is very intense and very stressful and there are lots of parents watching in the background, through to masters events which are equally as intense but in a whole different way. And I think that's such a great environment to share, but I think there's a lot we can do with Dr. Karen on how we can approach those events, how we go into the weeks up to this, what we do in our preparation mentally. One of my old coaches always used to say a happy athlete is a fast athlete, and I think how we can look after ourselves in that, and the mental benefits that we get from swimming are huge, aren't they? So the more we can do to build those conversations, the more we can do to educate people on how they are thinking and feeling when it comes to potentially racing, but then potentially training as well. I think that can only be a benefit to everybody.
Yeah, and it's interesting. You're right in what you say about the carryover from being an age group swimmer to being a master swimmer from that psychological point of view when you are racing, the pressure that you might have as a kid, with the parents watching and all that kind of stuff. But I kind of feel like it's I mean, at least from my experience, it's like two different pressures. Even though there is a carryover, it's two different pressures, because the pressure that you feel as a master swimmer is, okay, this is now, I'm doing this for me now. I'm no longer, it's no longer mum and dad taking me swimming. I feel like I have to go, I love it and all the rest of it. And also, as an age grouper, you generally get faster every year, just simply because you grow and you get bigger and bigger and stronger. So your times are always going down. You get to a master's age group and suddenly your times are, you're not seeing the PBs anymore, and it's trying to hang on to the times that you've got. And the psychology is so different, and so it almost feels like a different type of pressure. So again, really fascinating subject, I think.
Yeah, and I think that drop off of times is a very interesting dynamic, isn't it? When you consider that there may be people that won't achieve the times that they've achieved in younger age groups and younger age categories, and how you approach then being the best that you can be as the athlete you are right now, knowing that perhaps your body in years past was capable of faster is an interesting dynamic. So we're really hoping that we can help and support swimmers with that as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, it's an obvious question, really, and we'll kind of I'm sure you'll provide a very obvious answer, but what's the goal of this whole day? As you say, it was kind of inspired from maybe doing this at an age group level. So you're thinking, okay, masters, there's information missing, as you said earlier. What's the takeaway for people from all of this?
I think for me, it's empowerment. I think it's empowering us to take control of our training and control of who we are as a swimmer as well. Like you said, master swimmers are in and around the pool because we love the sport. We're in and around the pool because we love training, because we love racing, because we want to pit ourselves against the clock on whatever stroke it might be. And I think what we wanted to do is just facilitate people in being able to do that. We felt like there was a gap in the market, but a gap in the information really between what master swimmers were able to access versus what they were getting in training sessions. And we felt that this as a day was going to be able to bridge that gap really well. My aim is to, like I say, to empower swimmers to take that on further and to hopefully to improve from there as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, it's the first event that you're going to have held in this capacity from a master's point of view. So I don't want to look too far ahead, but is this something that you're thinking becomes a series or becomes once a year? Like, what's the thinking?
I think we're going to see how this one goes. But there's definitely plans in place to make this a more regular event. I would imagine it would stay within the region for now, but whether that becomes something that we can share with other counties and other regions of the country, like I say, if it helps swimmers within that regard, I'm sure it's something that we could be collaborative with and we could share as well. This isn't about it being a profit making exercise, or it isn't about it being, anything like that. This is about getting the best out of the swimmers that we have and doing the most that we can for them. So looking forward, I'm hoping that it is something that we can build on. Like I say, I'm hoping that we'll find out the day we'll have some successes, we'll have some things that we'll do differently, and in 12 months' time there may be local swimmers that actually are benefiting from something else that we can add into a day as well, which would be great to involve.
Absolutely, yeah. And one thing that we've all kind of learned since COVID is that we've now got this wonderful virtual world as well that's kind of available to us. And it was available to us before, but we've kind of really realised its potential since then. I suspect with an event like this, I mean, you talked about pool time, so literally physically being there and being able to swim is important. But from the point of view of the talks that people are going to be giving and stuff like that, it is something that you could run virtually. Is it something you consider for the future?
I think it is, yeah. I think some of the talks that we've had within the club, in order to reach all of our members, have been in virtual as well, and they are successful. But I think there is that human contact of being able to talk to somebody, or from a physio perspective, to demonstrate some of the moves that you might, stretches or mobility exercises that we're seeing. So I think there's a lot of power in holding that in person as well. But definitely there's a huge scope of availability, isn't there, in the sort of things that we want to share. So there's opportunities there in the future too.
Yeah, no, sounds fantastic, and it's £49 per person. How can people sign up? Do they go to your website?
Yes, so there's a link on our website that takes you through. There's a schedule of the day. There's information there as well. So that kind of runs through everything that you'll kind of need, and all the information there too. If you're following any of the Masters Facebook events and things, there's some kind of information that we posted out there in the last few days as well, to access some of that too. And one thing that DAS, Derbyshire ASA, have been keen to do is to back us and support us with that too. So if you are a Derbyshire registered swimmer, you'll be able to claim a discount after the event as well, which makes the kind of total cost of the event even cheaper than that too. So a big thank you to them for supporting our Master swimmers with that too.
Yeah, that's excellent. That sounds really good. And final question is, this obviously going to be quite a personal event, quite a small event, I'd imagine. How many spaces are there, and how many spaces are there in total, and how many are there left?
Yeah, so we're running the event as a smaller one to begin with. There's 24 spaces available. We're looking at just under 10 spaces left, I think, when I last checked. So there's a limited number of spaces available for that too. But it does mean that the information that you'll get, the opportunities to question and answer there as well, will mean that hopefully it's as tailored as we can possibly make it. We did look at expanding the event to a larger number, but we didn't want to lose that personal nature to it. We wanted to make sure that the people that came and that do come on Saturday will get the benefit from the real kind of personal nature that brings as well.
Yeah, completely agree. And just for context for listeners, we're recording this literally Monday evening, so this is out the following day. So where Jamie says there's kind of 9 spaces left, they're probably still around that many numbers. So get on it now. And it's at Alfreton Leisure Centre. It's really close to the M1 A38, so it's easy access for people that are maybe travelling from different counties. Sounds like it's well worth your money, well worth a go. It's 9 till 4 on Saturday the 23rd of September. So thank you very much, Jamie, for your time, and all the best. I hope it goes well, and I'll be interested to hear sort of some feedback from it.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me on and letting us talk about this platform, and hopefully we can share some future successes as well.
Absolutely, thanks a lot.